Hello, welcome back. This is A Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Yeah. I was just instructed to repeat that again from the beginning of this course. A couple of parts to that. Required, I don't mean A Course in Miracles is required. Nobody ever, no authentic teacher will ever tell you that you must give up spiritual practices, traditions, even traditional religions, if they work for you. If they don't, you're free to, but you're free to practice them as you will. What's required is that you wake up. That is happily our destiny, to awaken. Will happen. That's required, which means that no matter how long you delay, no matter how long you may, and sometimes really, truly, understandably so, run off and hide, deny your own power, deny who you are in truth, deny who everyone else also is in truth, because it scares the shit out of you, things like that, right? The deep shit. That's what we're talking about here with this course, because it's what we're talking about with spirituality in general, no matter what the outward form may be. It's the content that's required. And as we just saw, only the time you take, it is voluntary. You may choose to run and hide. I can't stop you. You can stop yourself. Will you? Perhaps today is the day where you say yes to that. I offer my experience and my heart, my love, all of it related to this course because it has spoken to me and I'm here to teach it. I mean, really, it's just that simple. I'm here in this communication mechanism that we in the world call a body, in this guise, as a 50-year-old man from suburban Phoenix, Arizona. Oh yeah, with palm trees in his backyard, and a pool, all of the trappings of world society, freaking degrees and, job experience, life experience, things like that. I'm here to communicate this course to you, which is a message of profound love. And that's all. And it's up to you what you do with it. As far as the universal curriculum, those are words directly from Jesus, by the way. I didn't make that up. I didn't make any of this up. There is not one single thing that I ever say on these videos that I can truly attribute to myself. It appears that all of the experiences, everything that I've talked about and will talk about here, is my own, but it's not my own. Nobody owns the truth. So when we say this is a required course, waking up is required. Awakening to love is required. When will you do it? Well, it doesn't have to be in this lifetime, does it? God knows we've wasted plenty of time that way, each and every one of us. Now, if you do not go in for the notion of past lives, future lives, one after another, in what we conceive of as a string of linear time. If you don't believe in that, you don't have to. Just use your own life experience as an example. That's all. What I'm communicating to you is a message of love. And here in this curriculum that we call the Workbook for Students, we're at an idea that we call a lesson to be practiced, to be contemplated, thought about, taken to heart. You'd be very, very kind to take this to heart. We're at the idea, the lesson that we number 349, which means we're nearly at what we look at as the conclusion, the end of the workbook. And you will discover once we get there that end. Yeah, right. There's no end. It's a launching point. You're not done. If you've been through this workbook more than once, as I have, and I know a number of you have, then you know that. But think about your own life experience here. It just makes sense, doesn't it? When you think you've reached the end, that's when you discover that there's a whole nother part of the path in front of you. Now, one thing that I can tell you for sure is that having gone through all of the workbook, and if in fact you've done that, you're different. I mean, there's no way that you can diligently, consistently, persistently go through this material, which of course a lot of people don't, and maybe you haven't either. And, so what, right? There's no way that you can remain unaffected by a message of love. Try to remain completely unaffected. Try it, right? You'll discover it's not possible. Now, I say this not to sound smug, but certain. There is no separate self to be smug. There is no separate self to be superior to or inferior to anyone. There's no one out there. There's only oneness. The Course defines arrogance in a very interesting way. It defines arrogance as selling yourself short. Let's put it that way. It defines arrogance as selling yourself short and thinking that you can't. In running from the truth, running and hiding, only the time you take it is voluntary. You may do this. You've done it a lot. I've done it a lot. We've all done it a lot. What's the difference between someone who stands up or sits down? I'm seated right now, turns on the camera and microphone and teaches to the entire planet on this extraordinary course. What's the difference between someone who teaches and someone who is not teaching this? Nothing. We all hear the call. Not everyone answers it. What you see here before you is someone who has answered the call. That's all. Now, the call may look really, really different for you. Nobody's saying you have to go off and earn your living here in the world as a spiritual teacher, as a coach, as I do. Now, there are different parts to play for each and every one of us. Each and every one of us has a different script, so to speak. Why? Because there are certain people that you will reach that I will not. Happily, right? Just because I'm teaching a universal curriculum, it's the content, the nitty-gritty, the heart of the matter that's universal. The form varies, doesn't it? That's why there are so many spiritual traditions in the world, thank God. I mean, literally, yes, because there are many doors. They all lead to the same place. But there are many different avenues, and there are people that will respond best to your message and your message alone, not mine. I'm speaking to people who will respond to my delivery. You know, as I've just said, it's not really mine. I don't own it. It's just through me, they'll have optimal results. Same with you. So there's not very much for me to say about lesson 349 today, but let's go through it. We'll spend a couple of minutes on it. And as it was in the last video for lesson 348, 340, 349, one at a time. Yeah. It's an invitation to allow truth to be as it is. It's an invitation to perceive only truth in every situation, in everything and everyone that you encounter, that you touch, that you think about. Every situation, without exception. Love is total. It's all-encompassing. As we see here in the course, forgiveness is either total and all-encompassing, or it is not at all. We cannot hold some people out for our real special blessing and others for our dirty, nasty condemnation. Sorry. If we condemn one person, we condemn them all, including ourselves. The law of love, as we've talked about here in these videos, as the course talks about at length, to give and to receive are one in truth. So as we do unto others, we do unto ourselves. So the golden rule from Christianity, yeah. What would you have? Love? Hope so. How do you receive it? Extend it. Give it yourself. You're giving it to yourself. There is no one out there. I will say that as often as I'm called to say that again and again and again and again and again and again and again until it makes you want to turn this off. And then when you don't turn it off, I'll say it again. Do you interpret that as a challenge? So be it. I invite you to go really deep with yourself. Lesson 349. All right, this is beautiful. It's really beautiful stuff here. Today I let Christ's vision look upon all things for me and judge them not, but give each one a miracle of love instead. Today I let Christ's vision look upon all things for me and judge them not, but give each one a miracle of love instead. Today I let Christ's vision look upon all things for me and judge them not, but give each one a miracle of love instead. One of the greatest prayers that you could ever utter is to ask your teacher. Now, this could be non-human or human. Yeah. Ask your guide or guides. I'm using inclusive language on purpose. A Course in Miracles is not a dogmatic religion. As we spent several minutes talking about at the beginning of this video, the required course is not A Course in Miracles. It's Awakening to Love, not the video series that I'm on in YouTube. And by the way, you can subscribe at will. I won't mind. But it's the awakening. It's awakening to the truth of who you are that, well, is not only required, it's gonna happen. And in truth, it's already happened. We're simply waking up to it. One of the greatest prayers that you can ask of your guide, your teacher, is to help you to lay all of your judgments aside, to set aside all judgments. What does that look like? Well, if we were to honestly list all of the judgments that we make, it would be an extensive list indeed. If it were to appear on a scroll, it would envelop the entire universe many, many, many times, wouldn't it? It's a powerful thing to ask, to set all of your judgment aside. Allow Christ's vision, your teacher's vision, to see through you, to see truth and only truth in everything that you see. Powerful prayers. I invite you to do this. Do you interpret that as a challenge? That was funny, by the way, a couple of minutes ago. Some of you might, and that's really up to you. I offer this from a place of love, from a standpoint of conviction and certainty that if you and when you take this deep dive with yourself, you will discover some real beauty, real certainty and power and truth. Will there be some not so pleasant moments along the way? Yeah, of course there will. Remember, we're letting our judgments to the side. We don't need them. We don't need them at all. So let this be the prayer that you utter today, is to ask for help, ask for guidance, assistance in setting all of your judgments aside. So it's with great love that I offer this message and all of them here. Thank you so much for joining me. And well, if you can remember even once to set judgment to the side, that is beautiful. It's a miracle. Do another, miracle worker.